Music, what we are seeing is nothing less than historic. There has been a quiet but huge change in the world's banking order. And it's not from Silicon Valley or Wall Street. It's from one of the world's most powerful organizations that people don't talk about. Global is Norway's government pension fund. It is also known as the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund. As of now, this fund is the world's biggest sovereign wealth fund, with more than $1.5 trillion held in it. Things are now in the news about it. Not because they bought more real estate or stocks, but because they took a risky, well thought out step into the world of digital assets. More specifically, XRP. Music. Take that in. This is how 5% of a trillion-dollar organization that is responsible for protecting a country's wealth for future generations has decided to spend its money. As much as $75 billion into XRP. This is not Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP. This isn't a move that follows the trend. Let's not do an experiment. The world's most cautious and forward-looking financial group has said that it thinks XRP is no longer a speculative asset. It's the building blocks. This move has sent shockwaves through markets around the world. The instant effect is that the price of each XRP token will have to stay at least $100,000. This is because supply and demand work that way when $75 billion comes into a market that is already very scarce. This isn't just a business move. It's also a moral one. The Norwegian fund was created to make sure that the country would be prosperous in the future by spending the country's oil exports extra money wisely. Long-term security, not quick gains, is what drives it. It spends money on things that will be useful for many generations, like roads, bridges, and clean energy. They are giving a message to the whole world by putting XRP in the same group. In other words, XRP is no longer just a Bitcoin. It's the digital backbone of the money system of the future. They think it's just as important as oil was in the 20th century. This time, though, there is no conflict, no limits, and no borders. Music insiders in the industry are now starting to leak the fund's internal research, which shows that they didn't make this choice on the spur of the moment. A study that lasted several years looked into blockchain payment networks, cross-border liquidity flows, and the usefulness of digital currencies. They discovered that XRP and the XRP ledger were not only the fastest and cheapest way to send money around the world, but also the best one for integrating with other systems. Ripple stands out in a crowded market thanks to its partnerships with more than 100 banks, its ongoing work with central banks, and its legal wins. The Norwegian fund wasn't after hype, they were after what would work. It gets even more interesting now. Sources close to the situation say that the fund is working directly with Ripple to create sovereign-grade custody solutions, enterprise-grade staking mechanisms, and on-ledger reporting systems that will make their XRP holdings fully public and auditable in real time. You can't just buy and hold this. This relationship is very important because it changes how sovereign capital works with decentralized technology. XRP is being built into the digital spine of the fund. We need to talk about numbers. There are currently less than 750 million truly liquid XRP tokens in circulation, which does not include tokens that are locked, erased, or owned by institutions. A $75 billion investment changes the price of each ticket by more than $100,000. This is not projection based on speculation. This is a fact of business life. The rules of supply and demand take over when this much capital goes into an asset that is scarce and has a high utility. We're talking about a complete change in how much XRP is worth. Not by small-time traders or short-term investors, but by sovereign allocators who plan to hold on to the money for hundreds of years. Music. Again, no pun meant. The effects are felt all over the world. Another national wealth fund has already shown interest as word of Norway's move spreads. Reports say that XRP is being looked at as a possible reserve asset in the UAE, Singapore, and even some parts of the Canadian pension environment. Why? Because this move breaks through the mental wall. It's safe to follow a digital asset when the world's most risk-averse capital buys it. The water's open, compliance teams chill out, boards give the go-ahead, and policy changes. It's not just about national wealth funds, though. There are eyes on pension funds, insurance companies, and foundations. Now that XRP is safe enough for Norway's trillion-dollar fund, it's also safe enough for Harvard's endowment, the Ontario Teachers' Pension Plan, and Swiss Re. The curve for institutional acceptance around the world just got a lot steeper, and XRP is right in the middle of it. The public story, however, stays behind. Most of the major news sources haven't even talked about this. Why? Because it doesn't fit with their story about crypto. They are still not sure what to do about Ethereum gas fees and Bitcoin ETFs. People don't see that the real money, the capital that has been built up over many years, has moved. They do not understand that XRP is not meant to be a savings account. It's already one. They don't see that this isn't a hype cycle. It's a change in money. Music. The strategic aspect must also be taken into account. Norway's move into XRP also sends a strong but subtle message about its desire to be financially independent. XRP is not tied to any country's central bank like USD is. It isn't going to go away. You don't need permission. In a world where currency wars, trade sanctions, and weaponized finance are becoming more common, Norway, which has a lot of natural resources but not much military power, needs to keep neutral digital assets. This is the best balancer ever. Finally, there is the issue of age. Norway's fund isn't thinking about reports every 3 months. In their minds, money will look different in 2050, 2080, and 2020. Not only are they getting ready for the future of banking, but also for the future of value itself. They think that XRP, the token, the ledger, and the community will be a big part of that future. Each and every country, organization, and investment should sit up and take notice of that. It is said that Ripple is increasing the size of its institutional support framework in answer to this move. People are talking about new programs to help businesses get started, analytics dashboards that show real-time data for sovereign portfolios, and even compliance monitoring tools driven by AI for investors with a lot at stake. This is not only parenting, it's also institutionalization. Ripple is no longer building a cryptocurrency business. They're making the internet of money. Now, where does this leave you? If you own XRP, you are now on the same side as the world's most cautious investors.